By the end of this video, you'll know what to do when individuals in the Scrum team or the whole team finish all the work in the sprint early. Do we just go to the beach? You'll find out in this video. 2 days prior to the end of a 2-week sprint, Emily shares her update in the daily Scrum. Yesterday, I completed all the work, all the development for the website chatbot. It's now ready for testing. I've noticed that all the remaining user stories, all the remaining tasks are currently in progress, and I don't believe that I can help anyone else in the sprint, anyone else in the Scrum team to complete the current pending items in the sprint. So I picked up one item, a small user story from the product backlog, and I'm currently working on that. I believe that I can complete this item by the end of the sprint, meaning I can complete it in 2 days. As a Scrum Master, what would you do in this situation? Before even answering this question, let's start with the Scrum Guide. As per the Scrum Guide 2020, no changes should be made in the sprint that would endanger the sprint goal. So you have a goal for the sprint, maybe creating X feature you want by the end of a sprint. Everyone in the team has committed on creating a potentially shippable working increment of this X feature. Everyone in the Scrum team is focusing 24/7 on this goal, completing the sprint goal in the sprint, and no one in the team should take an item from a product backlog or do anything else that could endanger or prevent the Scrum team from completing the sprint goal. Whatever decision is made, everyone in the Scrum team should be involved, including the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the developers. So what should Emily do in this situation? Simple answer: help the Scrum team. The Scrum team is cross-functional, self-managed. They have one goal. They are a single unit with one goal of completing the sprint goal by the end of the sprint. Remember Emily's update in the daily Scrum. She believes that she cannot help anyone else in the team. She believes, but did she check with other people? Your first reflex when you finish your current task is not picking something new. No, is to help others. How can we work together to get things moving faster to the done, completed? Running out of things to do, or I have nothing to do 1 day, 2 days prior to the end of a sprint shouldn't happen. It should never happen. As long as there are things working in progress in the sprint, there's always someone to help. Now, let's say no one needs help because everyone has completed all the items, all the user stories, all the tasks, and the sprint goal in the sprint 1 day prior to the end of a sprint. What do you do in these kinds of situations? Well, you have a few options here. First, pick an item or multiple items from the product backlog. Remember, the goal of the sprint is to maximize value. And completing early means value, guaranteed value to the customer, because we have a potentially shippable product working increment. We have an opportunity to set the team up for future success. It's always a good target for 1-2 members of a Scrum team to finish all their work 1 day prior to the end of a sprint so that they can help other members. But once everyone has been helped, they can start picking items from the product backlog. But remember, nothing in the sprint, even picking item from the product backlog or anything else, should endanger the sprint goal. All the decisions need to involve the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the developers. It's a team decision. A healthy product backlog will be prioritized and have ready items at the top, which can be picked up and brought into the sprint backlog so that the Scrum team, can work on these items in the sprint. You have a few options here. A user story. Maybe you can pick up a user story, a technical debt item, a defect, a bug, a spike, an improvement item which has been identified in the sprint retrospective. All these things, all these items, you need to follow the already defined process, meaning the same thing you do in the sprint planning. You need to plan it. You need to ensure that the thing you pick up, the user story, the defect, the spike, has been refined, estimated. We already know what kind of task. Everyone knows what needs to be done. And then you bring it back from the product backlog in the sprint backlog and you start working on it like any other task. As an example, let's say 1 day prior to the end of a sprint, the Scrum team has completed all the items in the sprint backlog and also met the sprint goal, the first thing that the team needs to do is ensure that the completed items meet the quality standards defined by the team and also the definition of done. A final check to ensure that everything done really means done. Once everyone agrees, we can work together, the developers, the product owner, to pick a new item from the product backlog that is small enough. It can be anything, a spike, a defect, anything, but it needs to be small enough. Everyone needs to agree that this item can be completed right now. And once we pick this item, estimated, and everyone understands what we need to do and it can be completed in the sprint, we work together. Everyone works together to complete this item, and the item is indeed completed prior to the end of the sprint. In the sprint review, we cover all the previous items that we agreed on. In the sprint planning, we show that we demo these items, and we also include this new item. One thing that you need to be very cautious of is setting expectations with the stakeholders correctly. I'm sure that the stakeholders will be very pleased, congratulate the team because they were able to pick another item and complete it in the sprint. But it's a one-time thing. In the next sprint review, they shouldn't be expecting that, else it will be demotivating for the team. For in each sprint review, they tell the team, why didn't you go this time beyond expectation? It's demotivating for the team. Set this expectation correctly with the stakeholders. The next thing you can do, instead of taking an item from the product backlog into the sprint backlog and work on it, you can refine. Why pick a new item? Maybe it's better to set ourselves up for future success. Refine the stories right now, especially if it's one day prior to the end of a sprint. Don't pick a new item. Start refining for the next sprint. Ensure that the top items in the product backlog meet the definition of ready. This will also greatly increase the chance that the team meets the next sprint goal. The next thing you can do is focus on yourself. Maybe you have some new skills to learn. Anyone in the team, the scrum master, the product owner, the developers, why not start learning, improving your skills, improving your craft, improving your knowledge? Work on yourself. Use this time to work on yourself. There's always new research that you can do. There's always new skills that you can learn. Maybe you can shadow another user to learn a new skill to ensure that the team is cross-functional. Maybe you can help a new developer, someone who just joined the team, help this person learn faster. Another option would be go sit with another team, observe how they work, their ways of working. I'm sure that you'll get some good insights that you can bring in the Scrum team. Another thing that I like doing is developers, the product owner, talking with the stakeholders. Get to know the stakeholders better, their wants, their needs, their pain points, share the roadmap, and there's always benefits in getting to know the stakeholders, your stakeholders better. And the last option I want to talk about, and my personal favorite option, is to do nothing. You finished your commitment. The team finished their commitment prior to the end of a sprint. Why not just chill and relax? Bond as a team, go grab lunch, go grab some drinks, play some video games together. For me, this is the preferred approach instead of picking new items or doing actual work. No, for long-term success, we want a unit, a single team that likes each other, likes working together. Believe that we are a team, we collaborate together, and one way to do it is to bond as a team. Go grab some drinks, play some video games together. It's better to do this for long-term success. I like this approach. No matter what option you pick, talk about that in the sprint retrospective. Why were we able to complete 1 day earlier, 2 days earlier all the work? Maybe we need to review the way we estimate work. Talk about that in the sprint retrospective. It's usually, if it's a one-time thing, there's no issue. But if it's a recurring, the team is continuously ending 1 day, 2 days prior to the end of a sprint, maybe there's something wrong. Maybe you need to review the way the team is estimating work. Which brings me to my next point. If you want more tips, insights on Agile Scrum personal growth, click on the video that stands out the most on the screen right now, and I'll see you in a few seconds.